This is a 2025 Luxe Cruiser by Midwest Automotive Designs. This is what they call the Partition model. And basically what a Partition model is, I call it a limo van because it's meant to be put in service as a limo. It's got the Partition with a power window that opens there. This is a 2025 Luxe Cruiser. I am going to give you a look around and an orientation. Here on the outside, of course, you'll note that it's got cameras here on the sides. There are cameras in all, front, back, left, right. So fuel goes in here. See that? Diesel fuel. Your hood release is right here. And when you pop the hood, there's really only a couple of reasons that you'll want to come under the hood for on a regular basis. So you have windshield washer fluid is on this side here, driver's side under the hood, big blue cap. Then on the passenger side you have another blue cap, and that is for your depth fluid. Now moving towards the back. This is where you have your water related stuff. You have all these connections here. Now this connection here, this is where you can put a water hose to that connection there. That is where you fill your onboard water tank, your potable water tank. This connection here is where you can hook up a hose and provide pressurized water to the inside of the van. That bypasses the onboard water tank. Now both of those have built-in water pressure regulators that'll keep it under 65 psi. And then you have these two black ports where you can hook up a water hose to those, and that's going to rinse out the inside of the black and gray tanks. So you got gray and black ports for rinsing out those tanks. Now you have this connection. This is where you hook up your shore power cord, 30 amp shore power cord. Now this right here, of course, this is where you empty your tanks. Standard 3.5 inch sewer hose connection. Twist off that cap, hook on your hose, and then you can dump it by pulling out these T-handles one at a time. You typically would do the black first, then the gray. Follow that up by rinsing out the tanks with the flush outs there under the black cap. Now in the back, of course, we have the hitch, back doors, that round looking thing on top, that's the TV antenna. Then we have media connections on this side, HDMI and the TV out. Then you have an outlet. Then under there, see that tube? That is where you store your sewer hose. We have the sliding door, and the sliding door is power. So you simply tug on it, that'll open it up. Once you have your door open, you can open it or close it also from this button here. You can also open and close it by pressing this button here. Now this being a 2025, you don't have a lot of differences from the 2024 models. However, there's a few small changes that are kind of nice and important to point out. So here they've combined the port where you dump your black and gray. Last year's model had, you know, your gray tank dump on this side, and it had a separate dump on the other side for the black tank. So now they've combined it into one, so it's not necessary to, you know, dump on either side. A lot less hassle, so that's important upgrade. All right, so we're gonna hop on in and take a look at things we might need to know on the inside of the van. So here we have some storage. This button is where you turn on the power to the exterior speakers. You control the volume from the Fusion radio or any of these touch screens. However, if you don't have the that button, the switch turned on, the exterior speakers will not work. Now we're inside. We're going to close this door. Now we can open the door, as I said, by pressing that button there, or we can press this button here. There you go. So when you're going to use this van, it's important that you have your power on. You see these two buttons there? One says master power, one says refrigerator. So if you're just driving the van, if you're traveling by yourself or with a companion up front, and you're not using any of the stuff in the, you know, in the back of the actual part for the passengers, you don't have to turn anything on. You can leave that stuff off, both of those buttons, and just drive it like normal. All this stuff up here in the front will work like any other Mercedes car or Sprinter van. However, if you're going to have passengers in the back, nothing back there is going to work unless you have that master power button on, and the refrigerator will not work unless you have the refrigerator button on. Now you can have the master power off and refrigerator on. Let's say you're traveling and you're up front and you don't need the stuff in the back, you can have that off, but you do have some sodas in the refrigerator that you want to keep cold. Well, then you'd want to keep the refrigerator on and the master power off, or you could just turn it all on if you want. It doesn't matter. So but the one thing that does matter though, if the master power is off, nothing in the back will work. So you do need to have that on for your passengers in the back to be able to operate the TVs or any of the touch controls, anything back there really. So that's the one thing. So the other thing, when you're driving, anytime the engine is running, when you're driving the van, that's charging both battery banks. So you have a battery bank for the front, you know, that's for the Mercedes engine, you know, the Mercedes part of things. So you got one battery bank for that. Then you have another battery or set of batteries for the rear that operates the entertainment stuff and other associated things in the back. So two separate battery banks. Both battery banks batteries are charged whenever the engine is running. It's charging both battery banks, the Mercedes stuff and the camper stuff, if you will. So it's charging both when you drive. Also, when you plug it into shore power, it does have a shore power cord, 30 amp shore power cord. It's 110 volt, 30 amps. It is not 220. Some people look at that plug and see like, oh, that's a 220. It is not a 220. Do not feed 220 into this, because you'll cause a very expensive headache should you do that. It's 110 or 120, 30 amp, right? So whenever you're plugged into 30 amp service, you're charging both battery banks via that cord. When you run the engine, you're charging both battery banks. So that's a way that you charge both battery banks, either way. when it's also got solar, so it's got solar panels on top, so that charges the batteries as well. Make sure, so this is important for if you're not an experienced RV user or are familiar with these kinds of vans. So it's real important that you know when that power needs to be turned off. So like, for example, if the van is you're done using it, it's parked outside your house or in your business, in your shop, wherever, and it's not going to be used, typically I would turn off the master power, right? Turn off the master power, turn off the refrigerator, unless you're going to be using it and you need to keep all that stuff running because you're going to be using it soon. But if the van is not in use and the shore power is not connected, then I would certainly turn that master power off, because it's going to drain the battery. Same goes for the refrigerator. Now, how long will the refrigerator stay cold on just battery power? If you know, off the, because the refrigerator gets its power from the what they call the camper batteries, the batteries in the back, right? So you can run it off of the camper battery. It's hard to say. I guess it depends on how different conditions, the external ambient temperature, as well as what stuff you have running in there, inside that needs to get cold. How cold was it before it got put in the refrigerator? Different things. So, but overall, you should easily be able to spend the night, off the grid, so to speak, without having to run the engine or be connected to shore power, and the refrigerator should stay cold easily overnight without killing your battery. Now, as I was saying, so when the van is not in use, turn off the master power unless you have it plugged in all the time when it's not in use. If you got a shop that has a 30 amp plug and you can plug it in all the time, that's perfect. That'll ensure that the system is a battery, it has a battery maintainer system. So anytime that it's plugged into shore power, the charging system, the inverter charger on this, is going to do whatever it needs to do to keep the batteries fully charged. So that's definitely important. So if you're not using it, it's sitting outside somewhere not plugged in, then do turn off both switches, otherwise the batteries will go dead eventually. It needs to, because that stuff will be on back there, draining power from the battery, and it will go dead within a few days of sitting out there with the power just constantly on. Now, another thing, so when you're driving it, if you're the driver for this van, all this stuff up here, this is typical Mercedes-Benz stuff. If you can drive a pickup truck or a car, you should be familiar with most of this stuff. There is a few things that are different. As I said, those two switches there are different. You're not going to have those in the average Mercedes car or truck. And then we have this touch screen. So this touch screen is this allows you to control certain things for your passengers in the back. So we have a home page here. On this home page, we can turn off the master light. So this is a light master switch. So there's lights in the back that we'll see here in a second. So you can turn the lights on and off from this master light switch. If you're not sure which ones are on or off, by simply holding the on button, that's going to turn all the lights on in the back at once. You also have this internet button. So this van is equipped with a internet router to provide Wi-Fi for the van. You can turn that on from here. When it's blue, it's on. When it's grayed out, the router is turned off. Now, the van is also equipped with another router, and that's here as part of this Mercedes-Benz entertainment system. That you can subscribe to this one, or you can subscribe to the one that's in the back. Either one does the same thing, and they both work fantastic. You'll want to download an app called Mercedes Me. This stuff here, as you can see, that's what the app looks like. You can download it on the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, either one. But that's what the app icon looks like. So And it's important to get that app, because with that app, not only can you use it to activate the internet, it also allows you to use additional features that are not available right off the bat as the van comes. Like, for example, like these fobs don't have remote start. However, with the Mercedes Me app, you can do that, as well as other things. So now, some other things about this van in the cockpit: you also have this camera system. This gives you a view at all times when it's running of the camera. So you got the front, rear, left, and right, and you can also, using the buttons there, change the view. Like if you just want to see the left and right side, or if you just want to look at one side full screen. We have some storage here, and there's a wireless charging pad that's built in right there, as well as charging ports right there. For those are USB-C, not USB-A. The one on the far left, that is connected to the radio for using like the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And there's another cubby, another storage area there underneath that button there. Other than that, we have this radio and entertainment system is also your navigation system. You can pair this to your phone and control it through these controls here. And it is a touch screen. You can also control stuff with these buttons here. If you don't want to use the touch screen, you can also control it with the, see this little pad? It's like a little mouse pad. So you can control stuff by swiping your finger and pressing the button to select. You also have another pad over here, and this one is to control that screen in the center of the instrument cluster. So for example, you can swipe here with your finger and just press in to select. You got cruise control set, controls on this side, and radio volume is here. You also have a home button and a back button for this screen. One thing, so getting back, I kind of got off track a little bit, but so back here on this touchscreen, we have our home screen. You can also have a water pump. So this is our on-demand water pump. When the van is in use, you can leave that water pump on. It's an on-demand pump. Just because it's on doesn't mean it's running. So it'll stay on, ready to provide water whenever you open the faucet in the sink or flush the toilet. And like I said, it's on demand. Just because the button's on doesn't mean it's running. It just means that it's ready to provide water should you need it. The other button we have here is the intercom button. So when you press this, you'll notice this red light comes on. So while the light is red and blinking like that, the intercom is on. You let it go, it goes off. So if you need to speak to your passengers in the back, just hold it, and then now you can speak and they can hear you as well. Another thing, then this button here, this is our partition. So when I press this down, let's see our partition going down. Press it up, we see our partition going up. So that's what these buttons do. And then our second icon, this is our air conditioning. So as you can see right now, we are in cool. We have it set to 68 using these arrows. We also have an option to use heat. It'll give us heat as well as air, cold air in the back. Now these are just for the back. The controls for inside the cabin here up front are here. Traditional Mercedes controls for the for the Sprinter van. However, this stuff is for the back, so that's going to control the climate controls for the back. Then the third button, this green button, that gives us access to our Fusion radio. So that radio is actually, its actual physical location is in the back, but you can control it from any of these touch screens. Right there, it's on. I can turn it off by pressing that button. Now it's off. We can change the inputs. We can go to the settings of the radio from here, select a different input, AM, FM, Bluetooth, so you can pair your phone to this. in aux 1. Aux 1 is the TV, the main TV. Optical is not used. Now, important to note, when you're going to pair this to your phone, that must be done from the actual physical Fusion radio. You can't do it from these touch screens. And then lastly, we have our settings page where you can set the brightness for the screen, change it to Celsius if you want to see stuff in Celsius. Cleaning mode will turn off the screen for about 15 seconds to allow you to wipe the screen. And then we have control setup. Control setup is where you can add and remove different icons. As you can see, we have some empty spots on the screen where you can add different icons. Now, be very careful when adding and removing icons, because just because you add an icon doesn't mean you have that feature. For example, if I added, I can go and select from the different features to add, for the different icons to add. I can add an icon for say, for example, a water heater. This van is not equipped with a water heater, so it might give the false impression that this van has a water heater, and then lead you to believe that the water heater is not working because your water never gets hot. Well, just because you add the icon does not mean you have that feature. So just be sure that any icons you add to any of these screens, you actually have that feature. Otherwise, apart from it not working, you're going to think that there's something wrong with the van, and there isn't. So now a couple other things I will mention. You have this van has power seats. The power seats are controlled from here and here. You have 3 memory settings. You have heated seats, power door locks, power windows, and of course your power mirrors. Additionally, you have 1 key fob here. There are 3 more fobs in the back of the satchel that's got all the owner's manuals. So you have a total of 4 fobs with this van. That button here in the center, this, you can open your side door for your passengers. Like if your passengers, you're rolling up to a location to pick up passengers, as you roll up, you can hit that button and that will open the door for them to hop aboard, right? So these seats have massagers built into them. See that? They have massagers on both of these seats, as well as the seats in the back. You also have a mirror. A mirror monitor, I guess I can call it. This is looking out the back. One of the cameras in the back, it looks out this view right here. You can actually change the angle of that camera. I go into the settings here. You can adjust it, adjust the view, high or low. So you can always be looking out the back from there. Now the last thing I'm going to mention, so this Mercedes fob communicates with your van via radio frequency. So that's how it knows that there's a fob up here. Otherwise, anybody could start it by pressing the start stop button, right? So it knows that this is here because this sends out a signal via radio frequency to let the van know, like, hey, I'm here. It's okay to start the van. However, there's a like, let's say the battery went dead. If the battery goes dead in this thing, the van's not going to start because it's not going to be reading the radio frequency that this is broadcasting. However, there's another possibility that something else that could happen. If you could be in some place where there is a lot of radio interference, like there's you're at a campground where there's a lot of radio interference, you're at a truck stop, you're someplace where there's a lot of congestion, a lot of radio interference, and it's causing this to not be able to, the information to not be received from the van. If that happens, you're basically stuck because you're going to be trying to start the van, and the van's going to be telling you in so many words that it does not detect the, it's not finding the fob. So what you do at that point, you're going to take this fob and let me turn on this light. You're going to take this fob and down here, just go down the middle of the center console, and right above this carpet there is a hole. So you're going to stick this, you're going to have to peel down the carpet a little bit. See that hole? Stick this fob in that hole, like so. and then put your foot on the brake and start the van like normal, and that's going to bypass the radio frequency communication. The van will start as normal, and then just take out the fob, you can put it away wherever you put it away, and you'll probably never have that problem again. It's very rare, but it does happen from time to time. You just need to know what to do should that occur. Okay, so we're going to move on to some stuff in the back. So here we are in the back. So as you can see, you got two rearward facing seats. You got a trash can right there underneath that cover. You got USB ports. You got your massagers here. You got massagers there on the sides of the seats. And these little knobs, these are for the seats are heated, so that's to turn on the heating by turning that on. So and then we have a touch panel here. So this is similar to the one we just looked at in the front, to control the same kinds of stuff. You can control the air conditioning, the Fusion radio from there, different things, right? Very similar to the one up front. The actual Fusion radio is right here underneath that cover. Now, we talked a little bit about that switch for the outside speakers. Now we have tray tables. These are located in this position, that position, and this position. There is not one for this position by the door. And basically what they are is, as I said, tray tables. These come out like so, and you have a place to work or eat, whatever you want to do, and these disappear back where they came from. And there's another touch control panel, and there is another touch control panel in the back that is a larger panel. As you can see, that is the main panel. We'll talk about that here in a second. You also have a power outlet down there, 110 power. You have USB ports under here. Let's take off this cover here. So this is our Fusion radio. Now, this radio is, as we saw before, it is AM, FM with Bluetooth. It's also got an HDMI in, so you can put in, say, anything with an HDMI that's got an HDMI out, whether it be your phone, a laptop, or any other device. Let's say an Xbox or a PlayStation. Connect that, and you will get to see that on either of the TVs up there. You just have to change that to HDMI 1 to be able to view that. Now, if you want to listen to the sound from the TVs or this TV on the speakers in the coach, in the van, you need to set this up to aux 1. If you don't have that on aux 1, you will not get sound from the TV on the speakers. You will not get any sound, period. So now the TV in the back, this TV that's recessed into that door that goes out to the bathroom. So that TV actually, does not have speakers. So the way you get sound, there's this set of included wireless headphones. So you need to have the headphones to get sound. That's the only way to get sound from that TV. So you put them, you get the headphones and you turn them on. You set them to position B if you want to listen to the back TV. The headphones you can also use to listen to the front TV in position A, right? So either way, you'll get you can listen to either TV with the included wireless headphones. You also have storage down there. See those two little cabinets, as well as storage across the top on either side. Now the radio, as I said, you can control this from any of these touch pads. I can touch the green thing right there, the green button, and if I turn it off here on this touchpad, you'll see that it turns off the radio there. There you go. Now it shows off. Now the TVs, this remote, this Insignia remote, this is for the back TV, the one in the door in the bathroom, and then this one is for this TV up here. Then it also has Apple TV. It's equipped with Apple TV, and you can get the Apple TV on either TV by simply changing the input on the TV to HDMI 1. So if I go up here, switch it to HDMI 1, and now I get you'll be able to see that on either TV as long as you're on HDMI 1 on that TV and HDMI 1 on that TV. Now similarly to the front, so when you're using the intercom, you hold that down and you see the light blinking. That means the microphone is active. The front driver, whoever's in the front, can hear you in the back, and you can hear them as well. So important to note, if that light's blinking, you can hear each other. So when you turn it on here, turn it on, right there the microphone is on. So they can, the driver, whoever's in the front, can hear you. Press it again, and that turns it off. Just make sure, do not forget and leave that on, because if you're having any kind of private conversation, you do not want heard by somebody in the front. If this is blue and that thing is blinking, the microphone is on and they can hear you in the front. Now moving on from here, now these seats, this row of seats, the middle row, has leg rests. So in combination with the leg rest and being able to lean that seat back with a handle on the side, basically you have a recliner, which is a very nice diamond pleated leather recliner, right? Now let's go to the back. We're going to talk about this area in the back. So these seats, you can see they fold up. You can actually fold them up, and you have some storage down there underneath. On either side, these will lay flat by pulling this up and out. It'll lay flat, and when you lay both of them flat, you basically have a bed back here. So nice place to take a snooze should you need it. Now we're going to talk about this screen. Now this is our main control panel. This has more stuff, as you might imagine, because it's the main control panel. Again, we can turn on the microphone for the intercom system, and we can run the partition up or down by pressing that. We can view our tanks. We have fresh tank, which is our potable water, the water we take with us, right? We have gray tank, which is water that goes down the drain in the sink, and then we have the black tank. The only thing in the black tank, of course, is what goes down the toilet. We can once again see our water pump. Now the water pump, we can turn it on and off from any of these such control panels, as long as it's got a water pump button. Tank heater. Now the tank heater is not to be confused with a water heater. The tank heaters are basically, just imagine, if you will, an electric blanket that is glued to the underside of these tanks here to keep them from freezing in the event that you're traveling or spending time in an area that's below freezing. Then you have your house and chassis battery banks. You can view those, see how those look. Now it's not so important to worry about the voltage. I tell people, just look at the color. If the system shows the battery banks green, that means the system is happy and all is well. If it shows the battery banks yellow, that means they're getting low. You need to run the engine or plug in the shore power or something. For whatever reason, the battery bank is low. If it's red, then it's really low and things are about to stop working. So typically that would never happen, or very rarely happen, and usually something had to have gone wrong, or you just left it, left the power on and didn't charge it, and it sat there for days until it went dead. Other things that we have here, we have in-depth lighting control, so we can turn off all the lights from this button, or we can turn them off individually. This exterior master does nothing on this particular model because this one doesn't have exterior lighting. Like this is primarily used for the models such as the Passage and the Weekender that have an awning with an LED light on it, as well as a porch light. This one, as I said, does not have exterior lights. Electrical, this will show you the battery banks as well as the ability to turn off your inverter separately. Now the inverter typically comes on by default, and typically that's where you're going to use it. Then we have air conditioning control and internet. We can turn it off and on from here, the router that's in the back, right? Then our settings page where we can do setting stuff. Celsius, mobile app. It does not have a mobile app. There is a mobile app module you can purchase as an option and connect it to where all this stuff will be on your phone, as long as you're within Bluetooth range and have the ability to control all this stuff in that way from your phone. Basically the everything that's on this screen will now be on your phone. But like I said, that's an additional price. That is an option that you would have to opt to have installed. Cleaning mode will turn off the screen for 15 seconds to allow you to wipe the screen. That's pretty much everything on the inside that I wanted to talk about. We are going to open up the back. I'm going to show you the back of the coach where the bathroom is, and then we'll be done. Now I'm going to open my door, pressing the button here. Now here in the back, you can see we have our toilet. This is a traditional foot flush toilet. You basically slightly depress that to fill the bowl with water, and then basically press it all the way down to empty the bowl. This has nothing you really need to mess with. That's the inverter and a bunch of other electronics. Typically you wouldn't have to go in there for anything. As well as this area, you don't typically have to go into this area for anything, except if you were needing to do anything with the router. That's the actual router, but typically you can activate that without having to get in there. You got 12-volt fuses in there. You got 110 breakers behind that panel there. There is a short power cord that comes with this, and this is the refrigerator. You see you got a dial back there to adjust the temperature. You got a sink, you got a microwave, and some storage space up there. And that's going to bring us to the end of this tour of this fantastic van by Midwest Automotive Designs. I am Frank at the RV Shop here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Please do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's Frank at the Shop on YouTube or Google. And as always, I hope you have a fantastic day.